Swayam Prabha, Digital India, Educated India.
A very good day. So, today we will discuss a technique called calculus of variations. We have already done this without mentioning about calculus of variations while deriving Lagrange's equation of motion from Hamilton's principle. So, there is a technique that called calculus of variation. So, before starting that, let me point out a few things. What is called a stationary point of a function f of x, let us say. So, I have plotted here a function f of x and it is showing a minimum at let us say x equal to x star. So, there is a minimum of this function at x equal to x star. So, at the minimum its first derivative is 0, that means its slope is 0 at x equal to x star. So, this is where its slope is 0. Okay. And to know it is a minimum, I have to find out the curvature of this curve, slope of slope. So, curvature is positive, the slopes are changing in positive way. So, then we will infer it is a function f of x has a minimum. Okay. There is another function which has a maximum. So, maximum at maximum point also the slope is 0. So, here again you see the slope is 0. However, the curvature is negative, the slope is rate of change of slope, that is negative. So, second derivative of this function is negative. So, if these things are given, we can infer this function of x has a maximum at some given point, here x equal to x star. Now, let us say another case, here f x is plotted in such a way at x equal to x star, again slope is 0, but curvature is also 0. So, slope is 0, but curvature is neither positive nor negative. So, second derivative of f of x with respect to x, that is also 0. So, we say such points are points of inflection. So, a curve may have a minimum, a curve may have a maximum, or it may have a point of inflection. At point of inflection, first slope, the slope of the curve is 0. So, first derivative is 0. However, it is neither minimum nor maximum. Okay. So, in such cases, all three things where curves may have a minimum, may have a maximum or a point of inflection, we say function f of x has a stationary point at x equal to x star. So, as soon as one says a function has a stationary point at a given value of x, that means at that value of x df dx at x equal to x star is 0. So, at stationary points functions have 0 slope. Okay. However, slope is 0, it does not guarantee it is minimum or maximum or neither of that. To know that, we have to determine the second derivative or the curvature for this curve. Now, same thing we will apply to some integral rather than a function. So, let us say y x and y prime x, which is dy dx, are functions of an independent variable x. So, y x is a function of x and y prime is also a function of x. So, y x may be a curve. So, y x represents a curve, then y prime x represents the slope of the curve. Okay. Now, we define a function, any function which is dependent on y as well as y prime and independent variable x. Here independent variable is x, y also depends on x, y prime also depends on x, and this function depends on y as well as y prime and the independent variable x. So, it is a function of y, y prime and x. Now, we define an integral I of y, which is integration from one point x 1 to other point, and the function is integrated with respect to x. So, for example, this is a function of a functional. So, I y is an integral and this integral depends on y, which is a function of x, and it is defined through an integral of a function. So, actually it is a function of a function and it is called a functional. It is function of y x and its derivative, etc. So, this integral is actually a functional, and this y, which is function of x, have to pass through 2 points x 1 and x 2. Okay. So, the calculus of variation involves finding the actual curve y, which is a function of x, such that this integral has a fixed value or a stationary value. So, what we want to find out? We want to find out what specific curve will make this integral to take a stationary value, and curve should pass through x 1 and x 2. So, if there are 2 points x 1 and x 2, let us say I plot here x and this is y. So, this is x 1 and this is x 2. So, there may be infinite number of curves passing through x 1 and x 2 in this x y plane. The question is, which of these possible curves, which all pass through x 1 and x 2, will make this integral either minimum or a maximum, or it will have some stationary value. So, this problem is handled through so called calculus of variations. So, suppose I somehow by some method I find out this is a particular curve which is going to give me a stationary value of integral I. Now, suppose I choose another curve which is little variation of this, then the integral will change from its stationary value. So, if the curve is varied little bit, the whole curve, not a particular value. The curve goes from x 1 to x 2. So, between these 2 points there are several curves. So, each of them is a function of x. So, there are y 1 x, y 2 x, y 3 x, there is a class of curves all pass through these 2 points. But one of them may lead to the stationary value for the integral, and suppose I know that curve, the problem is to find out the curve, but suppose for a moment I know the curve. Then if I choose another curve which is nearby that one, then integral will also change, its value will change. So, calculus of variation also involves finding out the changes in this integral I if the actual curve is varied little bit. Okay. It would be clearer as we go further. Suppose I, the integral I has a stationary value, we assume there is some stationary value for a particular curve y star x. So, between point 1 and point 2. So, here I have plotted x y plane and here is my origin, and I decide 2 points x 1 y 1 and x 2 y 2. So, point 1 has coordinates x 1 y 1 and point 2 has coordinate x 2 y 2. So, now I consider various possible paths that pass through x 1 and x 2. So, 2 endpoints are common for all the curves. Now, the issue is to find out which curve will lead to stationary value for the integral. So, we start with an assumption, let us say this black colored curve is the actual curve y star x. So, if I choose y as this particular curve, then the value of integral would be stationary, and if I choose any other curve, its value would be slightly different. Okay. So, y star is the actual curve and y x without star are possible neighboring curves to the actual curves, and all the curves are passing through point 1 and point 2. So, they have all pass through x 1 y 1 and x 2 y 2, that is common for them. So, let us say for a general curve y of x would differ from the actual curve. So, y of x will differ from y star x by some amount. So, let us say it differ by a small amount. So, a small amount I am writing as a parameter alpha times another function, arbitrary function, which is eta of x. So, what is eta of x? Eta of x is various additional part to this y star of x. So, suppose I want to add at some place, let us say at some value of x. This was on the actual path lower point, and as I go up, I go to a particular curve. So, this is my extra part that I have added. So, my path differ by an amount delta y if I take this value of y at a given x. So, that I am trying to represent by two terms. One is a parameter alpha and another is a function eta of x. Why I require these two things? Why not only a function eta of x? Because of the following. Suppose I choose an extra curve that is added on y star, and let us say it is a parabola. Okay. Now, there could be many such parabola passing through same two ends, and they could be this one, there could be another parabola. So, although the form of the curve is same, it is a parabola. So, highest polynomial for that curve is x square, but its height etc. is changing. So, to represent even for a parabolic path, the height should be different, and so different properties, I require a parameter alpha. So, if I take a x square or something, or let us say if it is x 1 and it is x 2, then my curve would be something like x minus x 1 times x minus x 2. So, it passes through both the points. So, at both the points this function will have 0 value. Since all the possible curves have to pass through points 1 and 2. So, this arbitrary function that we are choosing must vanish at end points. So, they have to vanish at the end point, and let us say I choose a parabola, then I can multiply with a parameter and I can change the value in between. So, I also require a parameter. As I have shown in the figure there, the curves look like sinusoidal curves. So, in sinusoidal curves, the form eta x is chosen, let us say it is sinusoidal, but then its amplitude can be controlled. So, this alpha, the parameter, will act as an amplitude of that curve. To represent an arbitrary change from a curve, we require two things. We will add another curve such that eta of x 1 and eta at x 2 is 0, and that is multiplied with a parameter. So, it is more general way of expressing change from the given curve. So, between point 1 and 2 there are various curves. Now, as alpha goes to 0, y goes to actual path, which is given by y star of x. For any choice of this function, whether eta of x is parabolic, sinusoidal or different kind of curves, you can choose any kinds of curve, but as long as this parameter alpha is set to 0, it will reduce, it will go to 0, the perturbations will go to 0 and y x will approach y star x. Okay. But for a fixed choice of eta, suppose I have already chosen a form to represent various possible paths, it would be a it may be a parabola, it may be some sinusoidal curve, etc. Once I have chosen, then I can vary only the parameter alpha. By varying alpha, I can get various curves here. Okay. So, for a fixed choice of function eta x, the integral may still be varied because the curves are varied, and the integral then may be considered as a function of alpha, because that is a parameter that we are varying. For a given case, let us say eta x is fixed. What eta x I will choose? So, there again there is arbitrariness. I can choose any arbitrary functions which is differentiable between these 2 points. But once I have chosen that a form for eta x, alpha is the parameter which I am going to vary. So, now the integral I will depend on alpha. So, change in the integral as I go from actual path, the black one here, to any of these dotted lines, the curves shown by broken lines, then there would be some change in the integral, because integral depends on the form of y of x. Okay. So, I can find out a change in the integral. So, some kind of Taylor expansion. First term is at alpha equal to 0. So, there is no thing. So, change in the integral would be the partial derivative of or derivative of I with respect to alpha computed at alpha equal to 0 times alpha. So, this part. There could be second term in Taylor expansion, there could be second derivative of I with respect to alpha, etc., but generally we consider a small variation and we keep most of the time with first expansion in Taylor series. So, up to order of alpha, this is what is the change in integral if I am changing the path. Now, alpha is the parameter, by changing that I am changing the path between x 1 and x 2. So, if I not s, if the integral I has a stationary value, then this change in integral has to be 0. Suppose I have reached to a stationary value. So, I have already chosen a specific path y star x. So, value of integral is 0. If it remains 0 there, then a small variation on that as alpha is becoming smaller and smaller. So, this variation is going to 0. So, that will mean derivative of integral with respect to alpha evaluated at alpha equal to 0 must be 0. Okay. Okay. So, now for a given choice of arbitrary function eta x, the integral I alpha is given as I alpha is integral of a function f which depends on y, y prime and x and integrated over dx from a point x 1 to x 2. But y is y star plus alpha times eta, y prime is y prime star. So, y star prime star is missing plus alpha eta prime and function of x dx. So, this is what is the value of I in terms of alpha. I have chosen a form for let us say eta at this moment. So, I take its derivative with respect to alpha. So, what I will get? F depends on y. So, I have to take partial derivative of f with respect to y and then differentiation of y with respect to alpha. If I write here partial 1, I should have written here also partial 1. Okay. But similarly, derivative of f with respect to y prime and derivative of y prime with respect to alpha. So, this I should write d I d alpha. So, this is now function of parameter alpha. Okay. And as we do this integration, so this term gives me eta because it was the change was alpha times eta. If I take derivative with respect to alpha, I am left with eta. Similarly, from here, if I take derivative with respect to alpha, I get n prime which is d dx of eta. and this integral. And now, if I compute it at alpha equal to 0, this must be 0, and since no more alpha is there in the integral, so this integral must be 0. Now, if you remember, the form of this integral, which is 0, is quite similar to what we did while doing the principle of least action. So, change in action was set to 0, we had similar equation. So, we will do the same thing. So, now we will do the integration by parts, second part. So, first part we just write down whatever is there, dou f dou y eta dx plus. Now, this part I do integration by parts. So, second one d dx of eta times dx. So, it is d eta. So, integration of that will give eta times partial derivative of f with respect to y prime. So, that is what is written here. Then minus eta times derivative of whatever I have already. So, derivative with respect to x. So, d dx of dou f dou y prime, and that eta has also come here. So, that is equal to 0. But eta at x equal to x 1 is 0, and similarly eta at x equal to x 2 is 0. This is a condition we have to follow, because all the curves have to pass through those two endpoints 1 and 2. So, this term is 0, that is why it is cut. So, now collect other term dou f dou y minus d dx of dou f dou y prime multiplied with eta times dx equal to 0. Now, this eta is an arbitrary function. While treating alpha, we may choose a particular form, but in general what form I will choose for eta, that is we are free to choose. So, there is total arbitrariness in choosing this. So, if that is the case, so this integral equal to 0 means integrand has to be 0, right. So, as soon as we put integrand to be 0, we have very similar to what we have done earlier, we called Lagrange equation. So, this equation is known as Euler-Lagrange equation. Euler was person who developed these things independently. So, Lagrange was working on problems related to mechanics, Lagrange and Hamilton, and Euler was developing various techniques for calculus. So, this equation is similar to what we call Euler-Lagrange equation. In mechanics, sometimes we only say Lagrange equation, but actually this equation was contributed by these two people. So, what do we see here? So, we have seen the application of this Euler-Lagrange equation in mechanics earlier. The Lagrangian, which was function of generalized coordinate, generalized velocity and time, and there was an action S, which was function of a given generalized coordinate q, was written as Lagrangian function, which is the state function of a mechanical system and depend on generalized coordinate, generalized velocity and time, and integral of that over time element. Play the roles of function f of x here and the integral I which is defined at I of y integral from x 1 to x 2, the function f which depends on y, y prime and x respectively. So, they are quite similar equations, and I will show you some examples and it would be clearer. In mechanics also we use it, and in other areas also we use this equation. Okay. So, this technique is a standard technique known as calculus of variation. So, I hope now it is clear why it is called calculus of variation. So, we have to find an integral I between 2 point x 1 x 2, independent variable is x, which is function of y, y prime and x, and this integral. Now, this will take a stationary value only if this y has some specific value y star of x. If y star of x is not a specific value, but a specific curve, if you change the curve, you look at different paths from point x 1 to x 2, I will vary little bit. So, it will have a stationary value which may be minimum, which may be maximum, which may be neither minimum nor maximum. So, that is why we are using the word stationary for a particular curve y star x. Okay. So, now we will look at some example of Euler Lagrange equation or calculus of variations. So, let us say we have to find out a path or an equation for y. So, y equal to, we do not know this function yet, we have to find it out such that this integral 0 to 1 and y plus y prime square integral is over dx is 0. Okay. So, we have to find out an integral a curve y of x for which this integral takes a stationary value, and once that is done we have to evaluate the integral also. And what are those 2 points? So, it is given y of 0 is 0, y of 1 is 2. So, these are the so x equal to 0 and x equal to 1. So, these are the end points. So, at all the curves must pass through these two end points, x equal to 0 and x equal to 1. So, suppose I try to plot here x and y. So, x equal to 0 here and 1 somewhere here. So, all the curves will pass through, this could be straight line, could be parabola, could be something else, all continuous curves. So, there are various possible curves, right. Okay. So, I have plotted it little. Okay. Let me redo it. At x equal to 1, value is given y equal to 2. Okay. Okay. So, at x equal to 0, y is 0, that is what is given in the problem, and at x equal to 1, y is 2. So, I have to take a value 2 here. So, curve has to pass x equal to 0 and 1, but y is given, y is 0 and y is 2. So, curve something like, so that is what I have to find out. It is given in the problem, y at x equal to 1 is 2. So, these are the 2 points all the curves have to pass through. So, which is the curve for which this integral has a stationary value and what is the stationary value? That is what is our problem. Okay. So, I write this integral as f of y prime x dx, and this is given here. This integral is y plus y prime square. So, if you look at both the terms, we know what is my function. So, function is given as y, function of y prime and x as y plus y prime square. So, this is what is given in this integral. So, this integral is f dx from 2 points, and we have to find out a value of y, not value of f. F you will get automatically when y is set. So, first we have to find a curve for which the integral has a stationary value. Okay. So, using Euler-Lagrange equation, which is this one, f is given here. So, I can find out its derivative with respect to y, partial derivative with respect to y. So, it is linearly proportional to y. So, it would be 1. We can also find out the derivative with respect to y prime. So, y prime square, there is one term. So, it would be 2 y prime, and now we have to take d dx of dou f dou y prime. So, I have to take d dx of that, that is what is done here. So, 2 times y double prime, second derivative of y with respect to x. So, Euler-Lagrange equation gives me 2 y double prime, this term is equal to 1. We have to equate these two terms, that is what is Euler-Lagrange equation. So, as soon as we equate that, so we have this equation, and now we have to integrate this. So, integrating once, y prime would be half of x plus c 1. I take to other side. So, y double prime is half. So, integration once gives me half of x plus some constant of integration. If I integrate once again, then we get equation for the path or the equation of the desired curve. So, y of x second derivative of y prime will give c 1 x, and half x will give 1/4 x square, and there is another constant of integration. So, there are 2 constants of integration, because Euler-Lagrange equation is second order differential equation. And now, with the initial condition we can find it out. With the initial condition was given y at x equal to 0 is y. So, as soon as I put at x equal to 0, x is 0, these two term goes away, y is also 0. So, C 2 must be 0. And the second condition is y at x equal to 1 is 2. So, y at x equal to 1 is 2. So, this is 2 and this is 1. So, C 1 plus 1/4 equal to 2. So, C 1 becomes 7 by 4. So, we know C 2 is 0, C 1 is 4. So, my desired equation of the curve that makes the integral stationary is y of x, C 1 is 7 by 4. So, 7 x by 4 plus x square by 4 and C 2 is 0. If I take its derivative, then we get 7 by 4 plus x by 2. Okay. So, this is what we wanted. This is the curve. So, the integral, the first part of the problem, integral will have a stationary value if y of x has this form. So, this is also parabolic curve, it depends on x square, you see. So, if I choose this curve, then only that integral which is a functional will take a stationary value once we have integrated between 2 points given. So, let us try to find out what is the value of this integral. Okay. So, first let us find out the value of f. So, we have found out the actual curve. Actual curve is 7 x by 4 plus x square by 4. So, function which comes in the integral, which function? We are talking about this function y, y prime and x dx, this integral from x 1 to x 2, we are talking about this function. So, this function was y plus y prime square. So, that is what we are doing. So, this part is okay. So, y plus y prime square. So, this was y, that is what we found out, and y prime square we can square that, this is y, this is y prime square, and we simplify, we get this term here. Okay. So, now integral is f dx. So, f is already known here in terms of x. So, I put there, I integrate. So, integration of 7 x by 2 plus x square by 2 plus 49 by 16 between points 0 and 1. So, this will give x will give x square by 2, x square will give x cube by 3, and here dx will give just x. So, they have to be evaluated between these 2 points 0 and 1. Once that is done, we get a value for the integral that turns out to be 239 by 48. So, that is what is the stationary value for this integral between 2 points 0 and 1 on the x axis. Okay. So, we have found out the curve that make it stationary as well as the value of the integral. If we vary the curve, if we take any other curve other than this, its value would be different than this. It will not be a stationary value. Okay. So, now we will go to some other example, one that you are familiar throughout. The distance, minimum distance or the shortest distance between 2 points in a plane. So, what is that? You draw a straight line through the point and the length of the portion of the line between those 2 points, that is the shortest distance all of us know that, we have used since school. But what is the proof? There has to be a proof. So, proof comes from this calculus of variation. So, let us say in y axis I have chosen 2 points 1 and 2 and I choose a curve. I do not know shortest distance is through a straight line only, we have to prove it. So, I have drawn a curve which is not a straight line and a portion of the curve is ds. So, ds is dx square plus dy square, that is the length along the curve. So, ds can be written root of dx square dy square, and if I take dx common, this is root of 1 plus y prime square. So, what is the problem? Problem is to find L. L is the length, right. So, length, how will I find out? I have taken a differential element along the curve, I have to integrate between these 2 points, right. So, this integration ds I can replace by dx times this factor. Okay. So, ds is replaced by this. So, now you see this has again the same form f of y prime and x dx integral. So, in mechanics what you treated as action in mathematics, that could be length. So, length is acting here as an action and this function which is root 1 plus y prime square is acting as the Lagrangian. If you see the similarity, this L is like the action in mechanics problem and this function which we have to, it is given here root 1 plus y prime square, that is nothing but it is similar to what used to be Lagrangian. So, in mechanics Lagrangian has a specific meaning, kinetic energy minus potential energy, but in other problem the action could be length, action could be time, action could be some other quantities. So, now function is given here. So, we can find out its derivative with respect to y. Since it does not involve y, so that is 0. So, that is 0 here, and if it is 0 then simply means if dou f dou y is 0, then ddx of dou f dou y prime is 0, that means this is a constant. So, if y does not appear in the equation or in the function, so corresponding partial derivative is 0 and that implies this derivative ddx of dou f dou y prime is 0, that means dou f dou y prime is a constant. So, immediately you get one integration done because this was 0. So, this is a constant. So, that is what is written, and dou f dou y prime we can find out from here, it is already given. So, y is root of 1 plus y prime square. So, it would be half and 1 upon root 1 plus y prime square, and in denominator we will have 2 y prime. So, this 2 cancels. So, we get an expression y prime by root 1 plus y prime square equal to c. So, if I square both the sides and rearrange, y prime square is c square 1 plus y square. So, y prime square can be written in terms of a constant c. So, this I call m, another constant m square. So, root of this would be y prime x is equal to m. So, integration will give me a equation of a straight line. and value of y 0 and m can be determined because we are already supplied those 2 points. If it is x, it is y. If those 2 points are given x 1 and x 2, so corresponding value y 1, x 2, y 2 they are given. So, I can find out m and y 0. So, the straight line passing through this, what would be the intercept, what would be its slope, they are known because they are passing through 2 given points. So, everything is known. So, slope and intercept is fixed by those 2 points through which all curves have to pass through. So, what we learned here? A proof of the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line between those 2 points. Okay. So, we will do some more example. So, okay. So, we will do some more examples. Another is calculus of variation and use in Fermat's principle. The actual path that light follows while travelling from a source point 1 to an observer is the one for which time of travel is stationary or minimum. In Fermat's original principle, it is minimum, that is the word is used. So, time is dt, dt is the path length, elementary path length, ds by velocity, velocity in a medium, and that will give me through refractive index. So, refractive index would be velocity of light in air and in that medium. So, I can write v in terms of velocity of light and refractive index. Again ds is same thing, same kind of integral. So, t is mu times the same integral which we came across few minutes ago. But now, the question is, if mu depends on x and y, then there is complicacy. If mu is a constant, then we know the answer, that is a straight line we did just few minutes ago. So, a ray of light passes from one point to other point in a straight line, and the time is minimum if it passes through that path, because time and length they are connected. So, thank you very much.